What's your verdict? It's probably the easiest way to start because there are so many different questions.
Yeah, what's my verdict? We turned it into a struggle. It shouldn't have been. Thought we were good in the first half. It's not easy playing against 10 men. Thought we did incredibly well to score so soon after they had the man sent off. Just kind of probably settled everything down a little bit. Obviously you go and get the second one, and you know, the second half we kind of said that we wanted to keep trying to play with energy, maybe a bit more tempo, and not just try and win the game 2-0, try and win the second half, you know, again. And I just thought I don't think we played with enough energy, tempo, purpose, intent in that second period. Conceded a completely unnecessary goal, and that just turned it into a game, and I think that we then lacked composure. Our shape was a little bit all over the place, and it had a feeling that it could have been one of them nights where we ended up, you know, really kicking ourselves, but thankfully we've managed to see it through and get a big 3 points. But you know, we've got to be better than we were in that second half, that's for sure.
Do you think when Cody went off that made a change?
Well, potentially, yeah, because we lost control at that point, and you know, they were getting through. We kept turning the ball over. You know, we kept turning the ball over far too easily. Probably after Cody went off, if we're being honest. And then you do that. They've got a lot of really good technical plays in the middle of the pitch, and we've played within our shape too many times. And yeah, we made that game a hell of a lot more difficult for ourselves than we needed to. But Cody, it was a doubt whether he was going to actually be available for today, because he's played I think 42, 43 games already this season, which is madness. You know, we've expressed our feelings to his parent club, and I think there's been games that he's been pulled back there to play, and that in my opinion, you know, he's been with us all season. We're obviously competing to try and, you know, finish in the top 7, and you know, I see other players that are their players coming off the bench at Buxton, and you know, and Cody's being dragged back playing full games, you know, and then he's expected to do the same for us, and we had to bring him off on Saturday because he was tightening up. He was a doubt for today. He's passed the fitness test and got through an hour, and you know, you feel like we're 2-0 up at home against 10 men. We should be able to. That's an opportunity for us to bring him off the pitch and just protect him a little bit ahead of the weekend where we'll need him again. But you know, it's fair to say that we probably did lose our way a little bit when he did come off, and that's credit to him, and something for me to think about.
That's still a situation where Stockport can play him when they want to.
Well, yeah, he's their player, and that's what they've been doing all season. So, you know, I think they're out of the competition that he was playing the majority of the games in now. So, from our perspective, and you know, speaking selfishly, I hope they don't pull him back for any more games, because you know, we've been paying his wages all season and been exposing him to games week in, week out, and now he's got a little bit of jet lag. I think there's been games that, you know, his load probably would have benefited from having a rest certain midweek games, but he's played I think that's his 43rd, 44th game now. It's a lot of football that for any player, and we're only in the middle of February, so we've just got to manage him, which we will do, and we'll look after him properly and hopefully get him right for the weekend.
Ever been in a match where a player's been sent off that early? Oh, I can't even remember one.
No, I can't remember. But to be fair, I have to credit the referee, because I have seen situations where in games where, you know, a red card probably should have been given really early in a game, maybe not that early, but really early in a game, and because it's so early, I think referees let him off the hook. But Mags is through on goal, and he's the last man. It's a red card all day long. No, they were saying that it shouldn't have been, but for me, whether it's the first minute or the last minute, if it's a red card, it's a red card, and credit to the referee for having the bravery to make the right decision so early on.
And you took full advantage, Ross Crane. He looked electric at times in the first half. He really put on the afterburners, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and he always does though. I think you know, when he came into us, he's played a lot of football at step 3, and it is a little bit more like, you know, back and forth and blood and thunder, and we're trying to, you know, make him a more rounded player without taking away too much of his rawness. And I feel like he's improved so much. His decision making, when to stay on the ball, when to try and have a go at his man, getting into areas where he can score goals. You know, he obviously scored 2 today, one with his head, one with his foot, just through being in the right place at the right time. It's things we do all the time in training. You know, the man on the opposite side of the pitch has got to get himself in an area where he's going to score a goal. So I'm really pleased for him. He was so unlucky against, I think it was Radcliffe. Was it Radcliffe? Where he hit the post at that top end. So yeah, pleased for him. And you know, but there's been a few games where we've took him out the team and brought him on off the bench. But he never gets down. You know, he keeps working hard, he keeps training well, and I always know that he's ready to go. And I'm really pleased for him tonight.
If you're going to be on the end of something, it's good to be on the end of some quality from Josh Marmie. The second one was extraordinary.
Brilliant ball, yeah. I think off memory it came, we forced a mistake, and then he put it in early, and that's a quality that Josh has got, because, you know, naturally off that side he does want to work inside onto his stronger foot and work his shots, but he's got so much quality on his left foot as well. He probably could and should, you know, trust himself more on it, but it was a brilliant ball in. He's got the ability with the outside of his right foot as well, so he just gives that level of unpredictability about him. But I think he's done really well for us. You know, we've moved him around here, there, and everywhere, and he just gets on with it. And he's contributed there with 2 assists. And not only that, but I thought in that spell, in the last probably 15 minutes of the game, when we were struggling a little bit, if we're honest, he was belting it all over the pitch, making tackles, running past people to get up to the ball. He was, you know, digging 1 or 2 of our lads out, and I love that bit about him. That said, he was probably another body tonight who he's played a lot of games and a lot of minutes, and he was probably one that we wanted to try and bring off and protect a little bit if we could, but with the kind of scenario we got ourselves into, we had to leave him out there. So he'll be tired, but he'll be ready to go again Saturday, no doubt.
Some Olay football from him to Tommy Hughes at times in the first half as well. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. But the good players, we've got a lot of good players, and I thought the Curzon game in the first half, times in the second half. I thought the Hereford game, and then I felt the first half today. I thought we played with a real level of control. Staying on the ball, being patient, knowing when to play short, when to play long, knowing when to try and play through, play around, play over. I thought our decision making in possession was good, and we carved open some good openings. We arrived in the final third quite well and quite frequently, but we just stopped doing that in the second half, and I need to watch it back and understand why. But I'm just so pleased. I said to the players before the game, we'll probably play worse at some stage than we did on Saturday, and we'll win. And lo and behold, I feel like we've done that tonight. But 3 points at this stage of the season's really all that matters. So I'm pleased for the players in that regard.
With Ross, do you look at him and Finn Barnes and think, can I play them both, or do I have to do either or? No.
There's been many times where we've played them both.
Yeah.
And then we had a spell where we played one of them and then Josh McCammon off the side, and he did really well, and then we just felt, in recent games, because of the opposition, that we just wanted to play with inverted players on the sides to try and get our full-backs down the outside. We needed to try and score more goals, so we wanted to get players in areas where they could have more shots. So having a right footer on the left and a left footer on the right coming in, if we can get them working inside in the final third, then we encourage them to try and take shots if they can. But without doubt, Craney and Finn will play, from the start again at some stage. It could be Saturday, it could be Tuesday, it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 games time. I don't know, but yeah, they certainly can and will play together again.
Was it almost too easy at times? you know, because you were in complete control, weren't you, for that first hour? It was, you know, it was almost, you had so much to the ball, the possession stats must have been ridiculous.
Yeah, listen, I think it would be disrespectful of me to stand here and say it was too easy at times, because, you know, Oxford City are a good team. I know they're having a difficult run of results today. We were really surprised with the team that they put out there. You know, some really key players missing, particularly the top end of the pitch. The strikers that they've got are a handful. The big lad Jones come off the bench, left-sided centre half who usually plays. He come off the bench as well. So they had a few players missing, but they've got some really good individuals. And people forget that they were a National League team last season, and they won the National League South a couple of years ago with you know, Ross as the manager. So they're not like, you know, mugs. They're a decent outfit. So we expected it to be a really difficult game, and I think it's not easy when you play against 10 men, because naturally the team that's down a player, they get behind the ball. And, you know, certainly we played on the pitch Saturday, it cut up, you know, the snow came down, it cut up, and Ben's done incredibly well to get it into the state it was in tonight, coming into today. But the longer the game goes on, the more it cuts up, and then when you've got a lot of possession, you're having to take extra touches to secure the ball, and it's not easy to play through a team that's quite organised behind the ball. So you have to be patient. So it's, you know, it was difficult at times, and I think they made it difficult through being quite organised and hard working, and you know, they tried to slow the game down where they could. They tried to get some of our players booked where they could, trying to probably even the numbers up. They were cute from the set plays and the throw-ins that causes a few problems at times. So, you know, at times it maybe looked like, you know, the game was easy, but I think that was more our good in possession, playing control that we had. But fairness to them, they nicked a goal and they turned it into a game in the last, you know, 20 minutes. And you know, whilst we could have been better, I think it's only fair that you give them a little bit of credit for that as well.
Were you relieved to see Carbon go off at the end? Because without making Jonah make a save, he's a real handful with his pace, wasn't he?
Yeah, and to be fair, he's. I think I'm sure I'm right, but I hope I'm not. So I'm sure he's one that's come through their system, because the lads who usually play at the top end, Andrews and Parker, neither of them were here tonight, and they're both a real handful. So I thought he did incredibly well for them. You know, he was off the shoulder, stretched the pitch, worked hard, and I think he only had that one sniff, and he slotted it away incredibly well. So he's probably one to watch.
2 big away games. I mean, every game's big. We talk, you know, you talk about it doesn't matter who you're playing, but Darlington and Kidminster, 2 of the teams are obviously in the mix. What are your thoughts on those two?
Everything you've just said, you know, two tough teams, 2 good games, 2 big football clubs. You know, there'll be 2 big crowds on. So yeah, just, you know, they're going to be difficult games, aren't they? Like they all are. I think when you're at home this stage of the season, you have that advantage of obviously being at your home ground and having the bulk of the supporters cheering for you, as did ours tonight. But I also think that, you know, it does bring a level of pressure, and certainly when the game gets a bit edgy, as it did here in the last 20 minutes, you know, that the players felt it, probably the crowd felt it as well. And hopefully we can go up to Darlington on Saturday, and then across to Kidderminster on Tuesday, and just make a good account of ourselves. You know, we're obviously up there at the minute, or we're in around that top 7, 8 teams, as are, you know, Kidderminster and obviously Darlington pushing from below. So it's just another big game, but you know, we want big games. You know, by winning games and by keeping ourselves up and around the top end of the league, it just makes the next game from now till the end of the season a big one. So there'll be difficult matches, but we're thoroughly looking forward to them.
Any movement at all, or
Here we
My
go.
turn to ask that. One word answer as well.
There's a couple. There is a couple who we are speaking to, yeah, and you know we're hopeful that we can get at least one of them over the line. I don't know, next week, 10 days. So yeah, we just keep on trying, keep working. But you know, I have to say I keep getting asked that question quite a lot, and I keep probably giving a similar kind of answer. But you know, I'm pleased with the group of lads we've got. You know, like missing out to, we've got everybody fully fit and available. You know, you've got with the exception of Josh Coulson, who's a little bit banged up from Saturday. But we've got, you know, 3 or 4 lads who aren't even in the 16, and we've got a strong bench there. So you know, we've got a good squad. We've got plenty of bodies, but as always, we'll you know, do what we can to try and strengthen.
We're always nagging you about whether you're looking for anyone, but you have got such a good squad here. Has anyone come in for any of your players, just as a matter of interest?
No, they haven't. Which is good. I mean, you know, some clubs don't want people coming in for the players because you obviously don't want to lose them. But and of course we don't want to lose any of our players. But if people aren't looking at your players, then your players must not be very good. So we know we've always got people looking at our players, but you know, at this moment in time, then no, nobody's come and told me that, you know, they want any of our lads anyway. So long may that continue.
1600 here tonight.
Yeah.
It just shows the potential again, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think I might be wrong again, but I think that's the biggest crowd at the walks since I came to the club, and I felt it today. I felt what is possible here. Just having that extra 500 people in the ground, there was noise right throughout. You know, even when the game was a bit like had little lulls in it, there was still noise, and that just brings a little bit of energy, and I think it helped us in the first half especially. We probably then didn't energise the crowd enough in the second half, because that's maybe why they got a little bit edgy, but you know, we're to blame for that because we made it that way on the pitch. But I thought it was so good, you know, everywhere you look there was bodies, and we would have liked to have put in a better 90-minute performance, but the main thing that supporters want to see when they come to a game is the team win, and hopefully, you know, any newcomers here today or supporters who've been in the past and maybe had a little spell away from the club, hopefully those that have been will come back, because I think we've got 6 games now left here at the Walks. Some really big games in that. Certainly you look at the last 3, Chester, Chorley, Scunthorpe. We've still got Brackley to come here as well. So, you know, they're all big games, and I hope, you know, that we can get that level of support now for the remainder of the season, and if we do that and we can keep on getting a few wins, then hopefully we'll maybe have another game or 2 for them at the end.